Okay, we're going to go over page 7 of our chapter 4 notes, number F. And so this is a nested loop. It's got a for loop as the outside and a for loop as the nested loop. And so what happens is then we execute, or we start with the outside loop, of course. So A is assigned 1. So here we are. Now 1 is less than 3, less than or equal to 3, and so we jump into the loop. Now inside this for loop, which the loop body goes from here to here, we happen to have a for loop and a print statement. So we execute the for loop, which means we have to start it and then wait till it stops. Well, B is assigned 1, which is right here, and 1 is less than or equal to 1, because A is 1. And so that means we're going to jump into the loop. Now in this loop, all we have to do is print X. That sounds easy enough. So here we are. We print X. Now the important thing is that this is a print statement, not a print ln. And so you see how this insertion point here is blinking? Well, the ln would say hit enter and go down to here, and it would start blinking there. But instead it's blinking here. And so let's just put a let's just kind of put a line where the blinking part is. It's right there. Actually, probably what I should do is oops, that's not going to work. Alright, so let's pause this. Okay, so here's our insertion point, this blue line, which is blinking, we'll say. And so we have printed the X, and the insertion point is sitting here waiting to be for the next thing that's going to be printed. So here's the end of the for loop, and we go over here to the third section of the for loop, and or the for statement. And so we're going to increment B to be 2. Now 2 is less than or equal, is not less than or equal to 1. So therefore this stops the loop already. And so now we can go to here. Now notice the insertion point is still waiting after this X, but now it says system.out.println, and you're not printing anything, but then you're lning. So this really means to hit the enter key. Press the enter key. The enter key is going to move the insertion point down to the beginning of the next line. And so that's where it's going to wait for the next thing to print. So now we're done with the outside loop, and so we go back to the outside loop for statement, and A now becomes 2. Well, 2 is less than or equal to 3, so we jump back into the loop. And so now notice then that we are revisiting this for loop, the nested loop. And when you revisit a nested loop, you start all over. And so we're going to start all over with B is assigned 1. Okay, so that's where we're going to be. And so now what we're doing is we're saying that B is 1, which is less than or equal to A. A is 2. And that's true. So we jump in the loop, and now we get to print another X. Well, remember the insertion point is down here now, where you see now that my blinking insertion point. And so we are going to print another X. And so oh, that's weird. Alright, let's get this together here. Okay, so then we've printed the X, and now we're done with the nested for loop, And so we go now back to the for statement of the nested loop. And so B now becomes 2. Well, 2 is less than or equal to 2. So we're going to jump into the loop a second time and print another x. Now, remember this print statement here, when we printed the x, the insertion point stayed right here. And so now when we print the second x, it's going to be on that same line. So we print a second x right there. Okay, on this now, after we've printed the x, and we had, I think I had deleted this. Okay, so now we go back to here, and now B becomes 3. And so the question is 3 less than or equal to 2, which it's not. So it stops the loop, and now we go here and the compiler's going to hit the enter key, so to speak. The thing to remember is that the last time it printed an x, the insertion point was waiting right here because it's just a print statement of println. So now when it hits enter, now we're on the next line down, waiting for the next thing to be printed. And so now we're at the end of the outside for loop. We go back to the outside loop's third section on the for statement, and so A becomes 3. Well, 3 is less than or equal to 3, so it's going to go back right into this loop. Now, because we are revisiting this, then we actually are going to start all over again. So here we are. We're going to start all over on the nested loop because we're revisiting it. And so B becomes 1 again. And 1 is less than or equal to 3. And so you print x. And then you go back up. B becomes 2. 2 is less than or equal to 3. You print x. And of course we're still doing the thing where we're not going to the next line because this is just a print statement. And so we go back up, and B becomes 3. And 3 is less than or equal to 3. So we jump back in the loop and print our third x. These aren't not good x's. Anyway, these are 3 x's here. And then we go back up here and B becomes 4. 4 is not less than or equal to 3, so therefore it jumps out of the loop and the insertion point goes down here. However, the next thing that happens is A becomes 4. And 4 is not less than or equal to 3, so it kicks out of the loop and there's nothing left in the program. So you have an x, 2 x's, and 3 x's, and that is all you have for this one.